Hey everybody, Ian here. So I'm back after like 9 months of not posting any videos. Perhaps I was gestating in the proverbial womb. But I've come to you today with a really bizarre and totally unnecessary project. I watched the movie Erin Brockovich every single day in the month of June during the year of our Lord 2022. And I did have a reason that compelled me to do this, but I don't want to spend too much time on the intro, so I'm going to go into my reasoning at the very end, for the super fans who watch the whole video. In case you don't know the movie, if you're not familiar with it, a brief outline is it's the true story of this company that had spent several decades poisoning the water supply of this tiny little town, a population maybe like 2,000 people. And this entry-level legal clerk named Erin Brockovich spearheads this ginormous lawsuit against the company and ends up winning the town and the people $333 million. And I like that it's 333. That's interesting, but it's a very it's a very uplifting story, inspiring. And this lady, Erin Brockovich, does all of this all the while being a single mom to 3 kids under the age of 10. And she dresses very inappropriately for her job, does not look like a lawyer at all. Lots of miniskirts, lots of, low-cut tops and stuff. She uses her cleavage to get into the records rooms and stuff like that. And it was well received when it came out. Julia Roberts, actually, she won an Oscar for the movie and for playing Erin Brockovich. And then the movie itself got nominated for several other awards as well. And I had seen this movie once before. It was back in my senior year of high school, and so I knew the general plot and stuff, and I knew, that she's this woman who, takes charge in her life. But I didn't really remember any of the details of it. And honestly, my main exposure to this movie and really to the character of Erin Brockovich is an episode of the show Friends, where Rachel's spoiled sister, played by Christina Applegate, she dumps her rich, much older boyfriend and shows up on Rachel's doorstep with suitcases to move in, just totally unannounced. And Rachel's sister says, "Look at me. I'm Erin Brockovich." And then Rachel says, "Oh, but sweetie, Erin Brockovich had her own place." Anyway, without further ado, let's get down to it. Day 1. All right, so after one viewing, the first viewing of the month, I definitely enjoyed this movie. One of the first things that struck me before we even got into the meat of the movie was how well shot it was. There was lots of really good framing and having kind of the geometry of a shot line up at this this one third mark in a lot of different places, and using just kind of the background as a way to line things up with each other. It's just very well put together. I mentioned that Julia Roberts had won an Oscar for this. It also got nominated for Best Director and Best Picture, and I was definitely, I can very much see why when I watched the movie. But it was also a lot of fun to watch her figure it out, to watch the character of Erin Brockovich put this all together. Because I knew the plot of the movie, and so just seeing that when she's figured out that the company had offered people money for their houses in the area, and then it had also paid for people's doctor's visits just, seemingly randomly, and it hid evidence of this, of the poisonous chemicals that were in the water. It's called hexavalent chromium. It's chromium-6. And so it's just fun getting to, see like, oh, here's this little bit, oh, and here's this little bit, and this little bit, and you can watch her, watch all the gears, turning in her head. I also noticed that the characters Erin and Ed Masry, he's the head of the legal firm that she gets a job at, they had really good chemistry together, and Albert Finney is the guy who, sorry, there's some noise outside. Albert Finney was the guy who played the lawyer, Ed Masry. He was also nominated for an Oscar. He didn't win, but yeah, this was a very well-received movie. I also love Erin's outfits all through the movie. I mentioned earlier that she dresses very inappropriately for her job, and she does, and I love it. I love all her outfits. She looks so good. One of my favorites was this watermelon one, I call it. There's nothing to do with the watermelon. It's just kind of lime green and some pink, and it's the watermelon outfit. But yeah, I definitely liked everything she wore. And she's very rude. She's very, brash and swears a lot. And she had a lot of good burns on other people, just all throughout the movie. Sometimes people on her side and people on the other side. She's just very, very rude and very, outspoken and very stubborn, and she's just funny. And I was also noticing around the third act of the movie that there's kind of new problems arise because things are, going too well for the main character, and so they have some new elements come in. But just overall, yeah, definitely a very enjoyable movie. We'll see how I feel watching it, 29 more times in the next 29 days. But yeah, definitely thumbs up from me. Not that my opinion doesn't matter. I'm just some guy. But still, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Day 2.
Oh, God. I just watched this movie. Oh, my God. I was like 30 seconds into the movie, and she's in like a job interview, and they're just having a conversation. And I was thinking, oh, my God, I just watched this movie. And I'm already noticing that I like already have to make a concerted effort not to use like my phone or like my iPad during the movie and actually pay attention because, oh my God, I just watched this movie. And ironically, I typed that note about not using my phone or my iPad on my iPad less than 20 minutes into the movie because, oh my God, I just watched it.
Day 3.
So this movie takes place in kind of the mid 90s, and watching it today, I was noticing some kind of interesting, just kind of pre 2000s stuff. For example, like there's no security cameras at a stoplight when there's a car accident, so they don't have that kind of evidence. It's also somehow weird that Erin Brockovich knows her bank account balance just kind of off the top of her head. But there were no like apps you could just go check the balance, and so it's it strikes people. But mostly this time I was paying attention to just kind of the structure of the movie and the structure of the script. Really, I mean, I was noticing at the halfway point of the movie was when more families start to join this lawsuit, and you also get evidence that the company knew of the toxic chemicals in the water going back at least 25 years before this. And so they start saying, this is a whole different ball game. And Erin actually said at some point, like, oh, this is kind of like, David and what's his name? And the lawyer, Ed Masry, he says, like, well, it's like David and what's his name's whole family. And then also at the 2/3 mark, those are kind of significant points, either the halfway point or the 2/3 point. At the 2/3 point, that's when some new lawyers come in and join their side, and Erin is really, really rude to this lady lawyer, and so you're seeing like Erin's flaws, but then in the very next scene, we see why Erin Brockovich, the titular character, is necessary to this case, because that new lady lawyer has absolutely zero chemistry with any of the townspeople, and they don't trust her and stuff. And so it's just interesting seeing how it's all pieced together and stuff like that. But yeah, nothing. It's kind of writer stuff that I was noticing. Nothing probably too profound for normal people, you citizens of the gutter who aren't writers.
Day 5.
So today was kind of a weird little day. I had a little obstacle to overcome. So I've been watching it on DVD. I got the DVD of this a long time ago, when I watched it one time and I liked it enough to buy it. But for some reason, the DVD was just not playing the English audio. And it would play the movie, but there was just no sound at all. And so I ended up having to watch it in French. That was the only other language option. And then just turn on the English subtitles. And thankfully, I have seen this movie. This was my fifth time watching the movie in 5 days. And so I already know the plot, backwards and forwards. And so I was able to follow along relatively easily, even without the subtitles. But it was fun listening to them kind of just talk about it in French. They talk, the chemical is chromium 6, hexavalent chromium. But there's also a chromium 3, which is relatively, just kind of neutral. But they would be talking about chrome 3 et 6, 3 and 6. And I was also, I was just kind of having fun, pointing out like that one word here and there where like, avec, that means with. Avec means with. And just kind of other little things, just kind of fun, but it was weird. One thing I also noticed, though, is that I just hadn't seen this until now, but at one point in the movie, they're walking through a parking garage, and the light is coming from behind them, and she's wearing clear shoes, either, clear glass or like a clear plastic, but they're see-through, they're transparent shoes. And the only reason you're able to notice that is because the light is coming from behind them and shining right through the shoes. And so it's this dark parking garage with these really light, bright shoes walking across the bottom. And that's just, that's very good directing. That's one of those things that got the director, Steven Soderbergh, that's his name. That's one of those things that will get closer to a Best Director nomination at the Oscars. And actually, fun fact about him, Steven Soderbergh, he was nominated for another movie that same year in 2000. He was nominated for, I think it was the movie Traffic, and he actually won for that movie. And so he's one of the only people in history, I think maybe one of like 2 or 3 people to get a double directing nomination in 1 year. And then he won for the other movie. But yeah, I felt like this whole, the French thing, having to go from English to French, that was my first real obstacle that I had to overcome during this project. Look at me. Je m'appelle Erin Brockovich.
Day 6.
Okay, so the DVD was still giving me problems today, just not playing the English audio, and I wasn't interested in doing the French again, but thankfully I was able to find it on Stars, and I watched it in like Super HD, which was really nice. Definitely better quality than, whatever this was. I don't know if it even says the quality on this. Anyway, that doesn't matter. It's in like 4K or whatever on Stars, so that was nice. That's the whole update, though.
Day 7.
So today, about 9 minutes into the movie, I noticed something. I'm wondering if it's kind of like foreshadowing of her using her boobs, her cleavage to, get places. In the background, there's this AC vent or this fan or something that just has 2 really big circles on the middle of it, and they look like boobs. And and they're right behind her while she's, talking on the phone or something. And I was just like, oh my god, I wonder if that's, oh my gosh. My alarm was going off. I have work soon. I was wondering if that's her boobs. That's supposed to be about her boobs, because it looks like boobs. And I'm gay. I'm not looking for boobs in out in nature. And so if even I'm seeing boobs on something, I feel like it's boobs. Yeah. There's even a line where way later in the movie where the other lawyer, Ed Masry, he's asking, like, oh, well, what makes you think you can just walk into these record rooms and get whatever we need? And Erin looks at him and says, they're called boobs, Ed.
Day 8.
Okay, so the Stars app on my TV was not loading at all today. I thought it was just Erin Brockovich, but I tried a couple other movies. It wasn't working at all. And so I ended up buying it on Amazon for $14.99. And I feel like I am, at this point, I did 7 viewings of it. And I was saying like, oh, I could just do this every day for a week and then make the video, but no, I think I'm officially fully committed to the project. I bought it on Amazon and I have 3 weeks left. So may God help us all.
Day 9.
So today I just kind of I was watching the credits. I was actually paying attention to the credits today, and I noticed that the judge, who shows up about halfway through the movie, Judge Leroy A. Simmons or Leroy A. Simmons, I'm not sure. He's actually played by himself, and so the real life judge from about halfway through the case plays the cameo role of the judge in the movie. And there's also something that's just it's been sticking out to me ever since like the second or third viewing. There's this one shot about halfway or 2/3 of the way through the movie of this big group gathering of all the townspeople at kind of a barbecue. And there's this shot of a balloon just floating away from the crowd. And they don't hover on that or anything, but I feel like there has to be some sort of symbolism behind this because the rule of movie making is that there's a reason that stuff happens, and so there has to be a purpose for this shot. And so I would love to talk with either the director or the screenwriter, or maybe both, and just kind of figure out what this means. I wonder if maybe it's when she's having some relationship trouble, so maybe she's losing her grip on her boyfriend, or her grip on her family. They were all wearing red hats in that scene, and so maybe that's them flying away from her. Also, maybe it's the case floating away, spiraling into something huge, bigger than it had been at that point, something like that. Maybe I'm completely off, but I feel like there's something behind this. So yeah, that's my update.
Day 10.
So I saw the new Jurassic World movie last night, which was just whatever. But it was a double feature of Jurassic Park 1 and then the new Jurassic World 3, aka Jurassic Park 6. But there's this one point during Jurassic Park 1 where there's a triceratops that's like sick and is lying down on the ground. And it turns out it's from poisonous plants that got mixed into its diet. And in the movie theater, I was like, OMG, Erin Brockovich.
Day 11.
So at one point in the movie, they fire her. The legal firm fires her because she just disappears for a week. But they didn't know how hard she was working. They didn't know that she was off working on the case. She just hadn't called. And I was thinking today, like, oh my God, have you guys not seen the rest of the movie that you're in? She's working so hard. Boy, I bet they're embarrassed.
Day 12.
Okay, so I just realized something crazy. I just noticed in the background that at the beginning, it's when she gets in that car accident. It happens at the intersection of Lancashire and Magnolia in LA. And when I first moved here, I lived in an apartment like literally 3 blocks away from that. And it's like, oh my God, you guys. I'm Erin Brockovich.
Day 13.
So I'm laying on the floor right now because I hate this movie. And I hate my life. And I hate all the choices that brought me to this moment.
Day 15.
Oh my God, I'm halfway through the month. I can do it. I'm Erin Brockovich.
Day 18.
So I learned a bit of disturbing trivia today. Apparently the character in the movie, her boyfriend George, is based off of Erin Brockovich's real life boyfriend Jorge. And so going from real life to the movie, they went from a Hispanic man named Jorge to a white man named George. I declare racism in Hollywood, and I'm the first person to ever expose it. So, in other words, you're welcome, minorities. Once again, the white man has to step in and save the day.
Day 19.
So, I watched the movie on my iPad today instead of my TV. That's it. That's the update.
Day 21.
So yesterday I had kind of a weird little thing happen at work. There's this song that plays at the end of the movie. It's called "Every Day Is a Winding Road" by Sheryl Crow, and that song played at work yesterday. And because I had, as of yesterday, I had watched this movie 20 times in 20 days. It's now 21 times in 21 days. But I literally, during the opening chords of the song, I recognized it immediately because it's just, oh my God, I've heard it so many times now. But it was like a top 10 song when it came out. And actually, there's another Sheryl Crow song that they play during the movie. And I didn't know that either one was by Sheryl Crow at the time. But I was listening to a director's commentary of the movie, of the deleted scenes actually, and they chose two Sheryl Crow songs because she was a big artist around the time that the lawsuit was happening in the 90s, but they thought that Sheryl Crow reminded them of Erin Brockovich. And she, just had the look and the hair and stuff, and so they just chose some songs of hers rather than writing new songs for the movie. Fun fact. But anyway, I heard one of those Sheryl Crow songs at work yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, I'm Erin Brockovich.
Day 22.
So I'm not sure if like Stockholm syndrome was setting in or something, but I actually really enjoyed it today. It was just it was almost like I was watching it, for the first time or something. Not the first time, but I was laughing at the jokes and I was, caught up in the dramatic moments. I definitely enjoyed it. We'll see what the future holds, I guess.
Day 23.
Okay, never mind. Yesterday was a fluke because, oh my God, I hate this movie. I am so sick of it.
Day 24.
So I'm currently hiding underneath my bed because I thought maybe Julia Roberts wouldn't be able to find me down here. But I was wrong.
They said they have $28 billion.
There they are.
They can afford to waste all the time in the world.
And you can't?
You think I made of money?
What are you yelling at me for?
Because I'm pissed off.
Good.
Fuck you.
Fuck you back.
That's kind of how I feel. Fuck you guys. I can't believe I'm doing this to myself. Oh my
I
God.
really hate you sometimes. You bet that.
I hate you too, Erin Brockovich. Ah!
Day 26.
So I just found out today, this morning, that there's an episode of Schitt's Creek, the show Schitt's Creek, where they're watching Erin Brockovich in the background. And it kind of reminded me of the Sheryl Crow song playing at work. Literally after hearing one line of the movie, I knew exactly what scene they were watching. And it's towards the very beginning, right before she even gets hired at the law firm. She's asking for a job there. But yeah, it just made me laugh. And it was the boss in the show, the boss of the hotel, had asked the employees to do some work, and they sat down and started watching Erin Brockovich instead. And so he comes in and asks, how's it going? And they say, well, Erin's working really hard, but nobody takes her seriously because of how she dresses. He's like, no, not the movie with the chore list I gave you. But yeah, it was very funny. It made me laugh.
Day 30.
So I finished. I watched, 30 out of 30, and I don't really know what to say. I had been wondering in the last kind of week or so if this was going to be like a bittersweet moment, my final viewing of it, and may, have this kind of tearful send-off of the movie. No, I'm excited to be done. I'm so excited to be done, and I'm excited to have my mornings back. It's the first thing I do every day has been to literally get up out of bed and press play, and I guess turn on my TV and then press play. But and then I'll make my coffee and have my breakfast and stuff, while I'm watching the movie. And I'm really excited to have this 2 hours and 11 minutes back. And I don't really know what I'm going to do with my time, but I know what I'm not going to do, which is watch Erin Brockovich again. No, thank you. I don't think I ever need to see this movie again for my entire life. Oh my gosh. But I did promise you at the beginning that I would explain my reasoning behind this. And it was this really just this weird, totally random thing that happened. I was just thinking about my Desert Island movie. And Erin Brockovich was not my Desert Island movie, never has been. But I was just thinking like, oh, what would I do for that? That would be really hard to watch a movie every single day. But then it occurred to me that no, this is actually, the Desert Island movie is not, you watch it every day. It's just the only movie you can watch for the rest of your life. And then I just, as I was thinking that, I just glanced down and saw, my Erin Brockovich DVD, and I was like, oh, I'm going to watch Erin Brockovich every day in the month of June. I thought of this in May. And then I did it, and I had been saying I think that would be really hard to watch a movie every day, and holy shit, it is. Oh my god. But anyway, I did it though. It was hard. It was a lot of work, and coming out of this, it makes me kind of feel like I can take on anything. Look at me. I'm Erin Brockovich. But anyway, oh my god, I'm so glad I'm done with this. And I really just don't even know what else to say about the movie. I think I got everything covered during these arduous 30 days. But so anyway, this is Ian, last survivor of Erin Brockovich, signing off.